Hello, this is Kathy, the Arty Mummy, and welcome to another pastel tutorial. This one is inspired by Crystal, who sent me a message a little while ago saying that she enjoyed one of my previous tutorials that reminded her of her area where she lives, where they have cypress trees with black water, and I thought I would find myself a reference image from the area and have a go at painting it for her. So Crystal, I hope you enjoy this, and let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to do is go just below centre and create I should say a horizon line, but an edge of water line, and that's just to sort of divide the page, and then we're just going to cover the whole paper with some light green colour. I've used sort of a light olive green for this, and no need to go too heavy on it, just quite a light covering just to get a little bit of colour down there. We're going to keep this painting nice and loose and nice and relaxing. No need to get too finicky or stressed over it or anything. We're just going to pop all those beautiful colours in there that make this lovely swampy, beautiful trees and water. And once we've done with that, we can give it a good rub in and just get rid of all that loose pastel and rub it all in nicely so that we've got plenty of tooth there to work with, and we've got a nice ground colour down. You can use your fingers, you can use a cloth, doesn't really matter. Then the next thing we're going to do is pick up a dark colour pastel and just establish the main trees. I've grabbed a purple here, but you could use black or brown, just as long as it's a really nice dark colour. And you're going to just place those lovely old ladies where they go. And I did notice that these cypress trees have a really definite shape, that they're much broader at the base and narrow at the top, and they tend to go a little bit jaggedy edge, like jagged lines, zigzaggy, once they get a little bit higher up. Now, I apologise, I've been having some trouble with my filming. I have discovered that my new camera will only take 10 minutes of footage at a time. It's taken me a little while to figure that out, but I think I've got that down now, so we shouldn't have any more big missing chunks after this video. And Crystal, if you keep an eye out, I'll probably do another one, because this was just so nice to do, and I'll make sure that we get all of it in. But what I've done here is I've just established all the main figures and just popped in some of those ones further back, and just done some really loose marks of where the trees and main leaf areas are in the background. So we've got these 3 trees to the left that are on the bank, and the 3 main ones to the right that are on the that are in the water in the foreground, and the big knee that's out in the water as well. And I've just done them first in black and then gone over them with a dark brown, and now I'm putting in some creamy greys and establishing some light on them to the right hand side of the trees. Now the ones on the left are very much in shadow, and the ones on the right have a little bit more light on them, but most of the light in this painting is actually off in the background. So that makes a nice little bit of change. Usually you don't sort of have shadow in the foreground, and I really like that about this painting, that it's just a little bit different in its perspective. And we're sort of just establishing all those lovely lights between the trees and keeping those bold shapes in the foreground. And we're just going, like I said, nice and loose and popping lots of tree trunks off in the back there and just filling in all those spaces. It's quite a thick bush there through the back, and there's a lovely big black stump. It's probably a 200-year-old tree that's come down there in the middle at the back, and it's got what looks to be what are they called? Fern palms? Yeah, I think so. And there's a lot of weed in the water off in that light area as well, so we're keeping that really nice yellow green. I did put a layer of yellow down underneath the green to just make sure that that's really going to come up nice and bright and light. Now, in between the trees on the left, I've placed some creamy colour and some brown to make the bank, or to begin the bank, and pop some of that creamy colour up on some of the trees as well. Now I'm using it's actually a very light Flinders violet. It's like a really pale purpley colour, just to get a bit more warm tones of sort of greyish tones on those trees. And that seems to work really well. Then I'm going to go over the top of that with some very light grey, almost white again. And see, that really brings those trees out, but keeps pushing them back. It's interesting how that worked with this one. Just sort of keep working with it until I've got those trees feeling like they've got the right amount of light on them in both the foreground and the background, and just popping some of those branches up in the top as well as off in the distance. So I put dark trees in, then some leaves, then I'm putting the lighter tones on top, and then I'm going to go back in with the dark again and just solidify those trees and put that lovely shadow that comes in down near the water, and pull those shadows down into that black water so that it starts to show that it is black water. And because it's such a still water, you really need to really mimic those tree shapes into the water. It's not an exact copy because of the angle that we're looking at the trees. They're kind of stretched in the water, but they've still got to be really quite solid because they're very well mirrored. Next I'm putting the reflection of those tree ferns on the water, and I'm also going to go back up into the back of the forest there and get those in a bit more firmly, and also brightening up that weed on the water at the back there. I apologise for my hair flying in front. It was very, very hot and I had a fan going. So next thing to do is to put some of those shadows back in there amongst those trees, and some of the darker greens of the foreground foliage. There's some really lovely, almost blue-green, really dark, rich foliage in the foreground of my reference. And it came into the water and also into the base of the three left-hand trees. And I'm also using that dark green to give some of the horizontal streaks to the water that give it that watery look. and popping some of it in between as well. I said, just keeping really loose with everything. This was such an enjoyable painting. It pushed me a little bit out of my comfort zone into a type of painting that I haven't really done much of before, because I'm unfamiliar with that type of scenery, and yeah, I did really enjoy it. So bringing the black into the trees now, to make them a bit more solid and bring them into the foreground so that they've got nice firm edges on them, not too loose the closer we come to the viewer. Now I've got the black again, and I'm just popping in some shadow sides to the light trees in the background, a little bit more shadow in the very dark foresty part from the centre to the right of the background forest, and putting some of those sticks and leaves and shadows and things on the mid-ground base of those trees and in the left there, and also pulling that down into the water, and not forgetting that little couple of trees that are further off to the left there. I think these trees have a really interesting way they grow. So any time they're sort of bent over or laying over for any reason, they send up another trunk. It's sort of, yeah, I like the way they grow. They're really interesting. And I've got those couple of knees there in the water, and I'm just going to pull down with the black. Make that water a little bit darker, and then bring that weeds to the edge, and then across a little bit, and also bring some of that bright foliage down into the top of the water, or the bottom of the water I should say, into the closest part of the foreground, and then get some of that colour that I've got on the trunks reflected as well. Now I am going to run out of video soon, and I did work on this for about another 20 minutes after I hadn't realised it stopped. So what I did with that water was just to pull down, like I am at the moment, with the black as well, and to go horizontal and with some green and some black, and to then work on those reflections being consistent with the background trees and what's above. Just adding a few more little bits of watery suggestions into there, and I also added some blue sky into the top left hand side, which is where that light's sort of back there, is where the light's being let in. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll be along with another one very soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.